I didn't go to film school. I didn't know how to make a movie. And in 1985, a filmmaker by the name of Kevin Rafferty, who made a great documentary in 1982 called The Atomic Cafe. Anybody ever see it? It was the first humorous documentary about a serious subject that I'd seen, and I was really kind of taken with this film. And so, out of the blue, he and his buddy, Jim Ridgway, they call me one day, thank you, you're gonna bring that up, to say, hey, we see you have I had an alternative newspaper that I published in Flint. Would you, we're coming to Flint we're making a documentary about the rise of the Klan and the Christian identity movements, the sort of really crazy right-wing stuff. This is back in 1985. Do you know how to get a hold of the Grand Dragon of the Michigan Klan? Oh yes, of course I do. I'd actually had the guy on my radio show in Flint, and I said yes, and he said, do you think you could, they're having a big national Klan rally south of Flint, do you think you could convince them to let us bring our crew in there to film it? I said, I'll give it a try. I called him up, he invited me out to his farm, had lunch with him, and talked him into letting this crew from New York in to film this thing. So Kevin and the crew came out. They asked if I would sort of be there, because I knew the people there, and the crew, I mean, Kevin, this was a really kind of a ragtag bunch, especially Kevin, who he wore the same clothes every day, the holes in his jeans, holes in his shoe, holes in his t-shirt, really looked the perfect version of the poor, struggling filmmaker. Anyways, I paid attention to what they were doing that weekend, and I really, really liked watching how they made this film. And so a year later, I got the idea to make Roger and Me. But of course, I didn't know how to make a movie, and I called him up, Kevin, in New York. And I said, hey, I was wondering if I could come to New York, if you could teach me how to run the camera and the sound equipment. And he said, well, how about if I come there? Really? Yeah. And I said, but I don't have, I'm on unemployment at this time. I'm making like $98 a week. He said, I'll come for free. Really? He said, yeah. And he said, I'll bring my crew. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll stay for a week. Let's see how much we can shoot in a week. I'll bring 60 rolls of film, and we'll shoot 60 rolls. And he did. He showed me how to do the whole thing. Ended up shooting about a third of the movie. When it was time to start editing, I went to New York. He had this grungy editing room, like in the basement of a Chinese restaurant or something, just gross and horrible and stunk. But he showed me how to edit, and he cut together the first 15 minutes. The first time I ever saw my film kind of put together, and I thought, oh my God. And he was just the most generous guy, but obviously living hand to mouth. So my wife and I end up in Washington D.C. working out of Ralph's office, Ralph Nader. This is we're now in January of 1989, and on January 20th, a new president is about to be inaugurated. His name is George Herbert Walker Bush. This is there now. I've made the Houstonian connection, and so I thought, wow, I've never seen an inauguration, and so I went over there to the National Mall, and I'll pick it up from there. It was not very crowded on the mall. I found a way to get close to the Capitol steps, closer than I thought would be possible. Looking up at the stage at all the muckety-mucks sitting behind the new president, it was there that I saw Kevin Rafferty. Jesus, I thought, I think that's Kevin up there. It did, in fact, look like him. But there was no way this was him. Well, wait a minute. No, it's not. He's wearing some fancy winter overcoat. Well, maybe he's got a good gig for the day, like filming the inauguration. But I didn't see any equipment. A few days after the inauguration of the elder Bush as President of the United States, I tracked down Kevin at home. I had to know if that was him. Kevin, I said into the phone, I was at Bush's inauguration the other day, and I could have sworn I saw you up there on the stage. Was that you? Silence. You were there? More silence. Then a drag off his cigarette. Then the exhaling of the smoke. Yeah, I was there. On the stage? Another drag. Yeah. Jeez, how cool. Oh, what the hell were you doing up there? How'd you get in? A sigh. My uncle is the President of the United States. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, my uncle's Dan Quayle. No, I'm not kidding. My uncle is George Bush, the president. My mom and Barbara Bush are sisters. His 4 sons and his daughter are my first cousins. I'm a member of the family. That's why I was there. Now, I've had many things told to me in my lifetime. You know, personal things, shocking things, the kind of things everyone gets to hear at some point or another, like, I'm gay, or I'm leaving you, or only Americans may depart this plane. But nothing in life had prepared me for this piece of news. What Kevin was saying to me was that he had been working with me for nearly 3 years, first with me helping him with his movie, then him shooting my movie, then editing the first part of my movie, but more important, being my mentor, my one and only teacher, a poorly dressed one-man film school. And now he was telling me that his uncle was the President of the United friggin' States of America. My head was spinning. Look, he said, I know you're probably pissed at me for not telling you, but try to look at it from my vantage point. Whenever someone finds out who I am, they immediately start acting different, treating me different, judging me, wanting something from me. You name it. It's a drag to have this around your neck. And frankly, I thought you knew. I thought I told you, or I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't believe it. I thought somebody on the crew must have told you. And then it dawned on me that you didn't know. And, oh, sorry, I lost my place. And I liked it that way. Because right now that you know, you're sitting there and thinking, he's one of those fucking Bushes. I jumped in. No, none of that. I don't make those kind of judgments. But Kevin, shit, man, you could have told me. Yeah, well, I thought I did. I mean, so during this whole time that your uncle was the vice president, now he's the president, what were you thinking whenever I said something negative about him or Reagan? Nothing. I agreed with you.